Mr. Bean couldn't believe his luck. He won a raffle. The prize was a trip to Cannes, France. Cannes meant movies. Mr. Bean loved movies. He even got a fancy new camcorder to film his adventures. "This is going to be epic," Mr. Bean mumbled to himself as he packed his teddy bear. He imagined himself strolling down the red carpet. Maybe he'd even meet a famous actress. Mr. Bean practiced his autograph smile in the mirror. He couldn't wait to get to France. He was going to be a star. The train station in Paris was super crowded. People were everywhere. Mr. Bean clutched his suitcase and his teddy bear tightly. He didn't want to lose them in the chaos. He saw a little boy who looked lost. The boy was holding a stuffed bear, just like Mr. Bean. "Maybe we can be friends," thought Mr. Bean. The boy was looking around frantically. He was speaking in a language Mr. Bean didn't understand. Mr. Bean decided to help. He pointed to himself and said, "Bean!" Then he pointed to the boy, hoping he would understand. The boy looked even more confused. The boy's name was Stepan. He was a curious and adventurous child, always eager to explore new places and things. He was at the train station with his dad, Emile, who was a famous filmmaker. Emile had a knack for capturing the world in a way that made it seem magical. They were on their way to the Cannes Film Festival, a prestigious event where Emile's latest film was being showcased. The station was bustling with activity, filled with travellers from all walks of life. Stepan had wandered off to look at a toy train, his eyes wide with fascination. The miniature trains chugged along their tracks, and Stepan was completely mesmerized. But when he turned around, his dad was gone. Panic set in as he realized he was alone in the crowded station. Mr. Bean, a kind-hearted man who happened to be nearby, tried to ask Stepan about his dad. He could see the worry in the boy's eyes and wanted to help. But they couldn't understand each other. Stepan spoke Russian, and Mr. Bean only knew English. The language barrier made communication difficult. Suddenly, Mr. Bean had an idea. He remembered he had his new camcorder with him. He pulled out his new camcorder and showed Stepan the funny videos he had taken at home. Stepan laughed. This was fun. The videos were silly and made Stepan forget his worries for a moment. He forgot all about being lost. The laughter was a temporary escape from the reality of his situation, until he saw their train leaving the station without them. The realization hit him hard, and the joy vanished from his face. Stepan's eyes welled up with tears. The train was their only way to the festival, and now it was gone.
Laughing at the funny videos, the laughter had been a brief respite, a momentary distraction from the chaos around him. Then, looking sad as he sees the train leaving, the reality of their missed train brought back the sadness and fear.
Mr. Bean knew he had to cheer Stepan up. They were going to Cannes one way or another. Mr. Bean had an idea. He stuck out his thumb and smiled hopefully at the passing cars. They were going to hitchhike. Stepan couldn't believe it. This was an adventure. The first car that stopped was a tiny, brightly coloured car. A friendly woman with a big smile rolled down the window. She spoke a mile a minute in French. Mr. Bean didn't understand a word, but he smiled and nodded politely. The woman gestured for them to get in. This was going to be interesting. The friendly woman, whose name was Marie, drove them to a charming little town square.
Music is playing and people are dancing. It's a festival.
Mr. Bean and Stepan had to join in.
Come on, Mr. Bean, let's dance!
Mr. Bean was a terrible dancer, but that didn't stop him. He twirled and hopped, much to Stepan's amusement.
Look at you two. You're having so much fun.
Stepan, inspired by Mr. Bean's enthusiasm, started dancing too. He showed Mr. Bean some Russian dance moves.
Like this, Mr. Bean, try it!
Soon they were both laughing hysterically. They were making quite a scene.
Everyone's watching you two. Keep dancing.
People were stopping to watch them, clapping along to the music. Mr. Bean felt like a star. After their impromptu dance performance, the crowd was buzzing with excitement. The energy was infectious, and everyone was in high spirits. Marie introduced them to her friend Sabine, who was a filmmaker. Sabine had a keen eye for talent and was always on the lookout for fresh faces. She was filming a movie in the town square. The set was bustling with activity, and the atmosphere was electric. Sabine was looking for extras. She needed people who could bring life and authenticity to her scenes.
How about you two? She asked with a twinkle in her eye. Would you like to be in my movie? The offer was too good to refuse.
Mr. Bean, with his knack for being in the right place at the wrong time, was taken aback. He had never imagined himself in a movie. He had stumbled onto a film set. The cameras, the lights, the action, it was all so surreal. This was his chance to live out his movie dreams. He had always fantasized about being a star.
Look, Mr. Bean, this is incredible. We're in a real movie. The excitement was palpable.
Mr. Bean was a natural. He had a flair for the dramatic and knew how to capture the audience's attention. He hammed it up for the camera, making everyone laugh. His comedic timing was impeccable. He even got to wear a funny hat. It added to the hilarity of the scene. Stepan was having a blast too, immersing himself in the role of a director. He pretended to be a director and shouted orders through a makeshift megaphone, adding to the fun.
You two have so much energy, Sabine exclaimed, clearly impressed. How about I give you a ride to Cannes? She offered, knowing that the film festival would be the perfect place for them.
Sabine was impressed by their energy. She saw potential in them and wanted to help them achieve their dreams. She offered them a ride to Cannes. It was the beginning of an unforgettable adventure. Cannes was even more glamorous than Mr. Bean had imagined. There were fancy cars, flashing lights, and celebrities everywhere.
Wow, Mr. Bean, look at all the stars!
Mr. Bean felt like he was in a movie himself. He couldn't wait to show everyone his footage. He was sure it would be a hit.
Come to the premiere of my film tonight. You'll love it.
Sabine invited Mr. Bean and Stepan to the premiere of her film. They put on their best clothes and headed to the theatre. Imagine Mr. Bean's surprise when he saw himself on the big screen. Sabine had included some of his funny antics in her film. The audience roared with laughter. Mr. Bean was a star.
Mr. Bean, you're famous now!
The film was a huge success. It was a night filled with joy and celebration as the audience couldn't stop applauding. The atmosphere was electric, with everyone sharing in the excitement of the moment. People were congratulating Sabine on her unique comedic style. Her performance had left an indelible mark on everyone who watched the film. She was the star of the evening, and her talent was being recognized by all. Little did they know it was all thanks to Mr. Bean. His influence and mentorship had played a crucial role in shaping Sabine's comedic timing and delivery. The crowd's admiration was a testament to his hidden contributions.
Dad! It's my dad! Stepan's voice rang out with pure joy as he spotted his father in the crowd. The moment was filled with emotion as the young boy ran towards his father, his heart bursting with happiness.
Stepan was so caught up in the excitement that he didn't notice a familiar face in the crowd. The festival's vibrant energy had him completely absorbed, and he was oblivious to the fact that his father was searching for him. It was his dad, Emile. Emile's eyes lit up with recognition as he finally spotted his son amidst the throng of people. The relief and joy on his face were unmistakable as he made his way through the crowd. He had been searching everywhere for Stepan. The worry and anxiety that had gripped him were now replaced with a sense of overwhelming relief. Emile's heart raced as he closed the distance between them.
Stepan, thank goodness I found you. Emile's voice was filled with emotion as he embraced his son tightly. The reunion was a poignant moment, filled with tears of joy and heartfelt relief.
Emile was so relieved to find his son. He thanked Mr. Bean for taking care of Stepan. The gratitude in his voice was evident as he expressed his heartfelt thanks to the man who had looked after his child.
Thank you, Mr. Bean. I saw your antics in the film. You were hilarious. Emile's appreciation was genuine and his laughter was infectious as he recounted the moments from the film that had made him laugh the most. How would you like a small part in my next movie? The offer was unexpected but thrilling. Emile's eyes sparkled with excitement as he extended the opportunity to Mr. Bean, who was taken aback by the generous proposal.
Mr. Bean couldn't believe his ears. He was going to be in a real movie. The shock and amazement on his face were priceless as he processed the incredible news. It was a dream come true for him.
Mr. Bean, you're going to be a movie star. The words echoed in his mind as he celebrated the moment. The excitement was palpable and the future looked brighter than ever for Mr. Bean.
After all the excitement, Mr. Bean decided he needed some relaxation. He put on his swim trunks, grabbed his teddy bear and headed to the beach. He built a magnificent sandcastle, complete with a moat and a drawbridge. He even managed to find a stray umbrella to shade himself from the sun. Mr. Bean sighed contentedly. His trip to Cannes had been full of surprises. He had lost a boy, hitchhiked across France, become a dancing sensation, starred in a movie and reunited a father and son. And he had it all on tape. Mr. Bean couldn't wait to get home and show everyone his adventures. He had a feeling this was just the beginning of his movie career.